They are on the screen. I could see now. Yes, I think it is Shesha sir is very much present with the name of K. Vanmati 1958, Naishwara sir and Satyanarayana Panga also present over there. So welcome to each and everybody. Yes, I could hear you, and you can also speak me. And before I could go, let me say the good morning with the flowers. I'm sure that you could see the flowers now, provided I could share it. So I would like to share now the flowers with you. Where is I'm searching for the yeah, I found it. Yes, now you could see my flowers would say good morning and hello to everybody. Namaskar. And yes. I'm hearing you. Very, very namaskar. Yeah. I'm getting the sound of it. The students, those who are joining, I expand the panel to show you the things. Yeah, I would like to. Mother is joining. Yes, welcome. Yeah, we are dealing with the internal aids are concerned. And yes, participants one after another joining. Then I want to see that, because I cannot expand it because the size itself is this much, the size of the photo. So yes, and I saw the chart also here. Yes, good morning in Mannar and Ayub Pasha, welcome. Harshita also joined just now. Yes, good morning to everybody. And see on the screen, you could see the good morning, which you cannot extend it and enlarge it unless either I would say that, yeah, there is a provision is this much I could enlarge it, not more than that. Yes, and in our classes we said long title we did it, headings we did it, preamble we did it, punctuation we did it, and illustration we did it. Now in this class we will see from definition. Yeah. So people are joining one after another. 11:33. Yeah, please speak. Yeah. Speakers on, students speakers on. So I would like to see that they should keep it in mute so that my class will be in smooth way. Yeah. I saw the Ayub Pasha, Harshita. Yes, I saw your chat. Then I closed it. Yeah, coming to the point of my now, I will share with this good morning, and I will come to the point of my share. Yes, I am sharing now the screen, and which says regarding the proviso. No, not proviso, because we have to start with the definition. Yeah. So from here we have to study the definition. Uh, Sir, you said the definition, you click R, that is the disjunctive conjunction here, and interpretation class. Yes, the definition can also be said in some statute as a interpretation class. I will show you the proof also. Just now I already made it over here. So what this definition says, let me see. These don't take away the ordinary and natural meaning of the words, but as used to extend the meaning of the word to include or cover something which would not normally be covered or included. Then the number two is interpret the ambiguous words and words which are not plain or clear. At that instance, we rely on the definition. So you have already seen that, for instance, you take what is the immovable property which is not clearly defined in the TP Act, then we rely on the General Clause Act of 1897, TGCA, and where we have taken the definition of the immovable property. And if you see that again in one of the case law, that Hamdard Waqf Laboratories versus Deputy Labor Commissioner, it is said the Supreme Court observed that when an interpretation clause uses the word includes, it is a prima facie extensive. So when you say includes, it is a extensive. When it uses the words means and includes, it will afford an exhaustive explanation to the meaning for which the purpose of the act may invariably attach to the word or expression. So sometimes includes, it is extensive and means and inclusive and is exhaustive in explanation to the meaning. Means and excludes are put it over there. And we'll see again the, of course we'll see because in some of the acts you will find the definition clause is in section 2, and some of the acts you will find the definition clause in section 3. For instance, if you take the General Clause Act, which I put it on the screen, and here you will find it General Clause definitions are given in section 3 in the General Clause Act. So, abate, act, affidavit, we already discussed in our LL classes. So, what I want to show here, or what I want to say here is, the definitions in some acts, it will come under the section 3, and some acts, it will come under the section 2. But here in the TGCA, it came under the section 3. Now, I will switch over to the another, yes, here I switch over to the Indian Contract Act of 1872, and there the section 2 is not the definition they put it over there, but what they written there, interpretation clause. Yes, that's I want to share you. So definition can be also said as a interpretation clause. That's I want to say. In this act, following words and expressions are used in the following sense, unless contrary intention appear from the context. So this the proviso is there unless we use the word unless the contrary intention will appear over there, then what meaning will be taken as it is given in the statute or act itself. So section 2 in the interpretation clause, it is given. Then if you see the another IPC, then IPC, let us see where it is given IPC. So it is given the general explanation in section 6, but they have not clearly mentioned in definitions. Yeah, it is given the definition in different sections they have given over there. So gender, you have given the section 8, number 9, number, and 10, man and woman, 11, persons. So they have given the explanations, general explanations in the chapter 2 in different sections. So in different statutes, the definition will be given in different sections. That's what I want to say. Let us come to again or back to our original class is concerned, that is in the case of Commissioner of Income Tax versus GR Karthikeyan, where the question was whether the prize money received by the participants in a motor rally was income within the premises, within the premise of the Section 2, subsection 24 of the Income Tax Act. So what the section 2 says, the definition, section 2 says under 24, whether income it came from the award money in the motor rally. That means motor rally in the sense motor race, rather, we can say like that. So the Supreme Court held that several clauses in section 2, subsection 24, were not exhaustive in nature, and therefore money received under any new head not covered under the provisions in income tax, and so subject to income tax under the law. So whatever is the section say, the section is not exhaustive in nature. Therefore, money received under any new head, like here the new head means motor rally, the income received, not covered under the provision is income, and so subject to income tax under the act. So here what it says, whether it comes under the income or not. So if it is exhaustive, it will not come over there. And if it is not exhaustive, here not exhaustive. So even the money which is received in the form of income, yes, that is a taxable. Even the money which is received from the motor rally, yes, it is taxable. If I want to say even a lottery money is also taxable. Whether anybody disagree here, let me hear from you, the participants. Yes, participants, can you tell me that whether the money in the lottery money is chargeable, taxable or not? Anyone? Anyone can say, I could hear you.
Taxable, sir, taxable.
It is taxable. That is the point what I want to say. What about the pension?
ये ये इसमें ये करोड़ आए तो 30% will be taxable, sir.
Yeah, what about the pension?
Pension is taxable.
Yeah, but generally the pension should not be taxed over there. But they say they
No, no.
crossed the limit. So whatever the source of income which cross the limit, exemption, which cross the limit means exemption is there up to that extent. The other income which you
Sir,
are going to get is taxable. That is the
that is
thing. Yes. Yes. Any other
subject,
thing?
sir.
Yeah. Please tell me.
Sir,
Of course,
subject to
exemption.
slab, sir.
Yeah, exemptions
Slab,
are there.
slab.
A slab is there. Yes, slab is there. That's why I say limitation. Limitation. If you
As per
cross
that
the,
only.
yeah, if you cross the slab, then you will be taxed. So that is the point.
Yes, sir.
Taxable. See here, the income which is raised from the motor rally, yes, it is taxable provided it crosses the slab. That is the point. That is the whole point. Yeah, please.
IT वाला किसी को नहीं छोड़ता साहब ना.
No, no, because we will
IT वाला will
consider.
not leave anybody.
No, 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 no. See, the point is even IT also, because the section clearly says if it is not exhaustive, that means other income also come under the definition. That is the definition of the section 2, subsection 24. That is the point. So now I will continue my class. Again, Industrial Dispute Act, it is also given the definition under section 2. Indian Contract Act also given section 2, but with a different name. There is a interpretation clause. And I told you that General Clause Act in 1897, the definition is explained in the section 3. So now we may ask, sir, why this definition? The definition is, if you want to know a particular definition, whether where it is covers. If it is not covered in the statute, then we have to rely on the TGCA. That is the General Clause Act, Act of 1897. So the definition will clearly says, yeah, this will come under the so and so definition. So for that regard, definitions are important in construing or in interpreting the statutes are concerned. If such a definitions are not given, then the problem would be there. In generally, in each statutes there are definitions, either in section 2 or section 3 with a name definition or interpretation clause. It doesn't matter. But in IPC, we say general explanation is given, and that also give the definition of, and what is gender. It is defined over there. So, man, unless the contrary intention appears, then we will take the same definitions. So that is the importance of the definition, which is the internal aid for construing the statute or interpretation of the statute. Here, statute in the sense either the provisions or the words, whichever it may be. So that is the end of the definition class. Then I will come to the proviso. So if you see the in each section are you will signed provided, that is a proviso, because that condition should be fulfilled, then the main section will be coming to the picture. So let us see what is the proviso says. The proper function of a proviso is to accept and so deal with the case which would otherwise fall within the general language of the main enactment, and its effect is confined to that case. It is a qualification of the preceding enactment which is expressed in terms too general to be quite accurate. As a general rule, a proviso is added to an enactment to qualify or create an exception. So it is a exception to create it or to qualify it to what is in the enactment, and ordinarily a proviso is not interpreted as stating a general rule. So normally a proviso does not travel beyond the provisions to which it is a proviso. So a proviso will not go to the other section. It goes to that section where the proviso is there. it craves out an exception to the main provision, to which it has been enacted as a proviso and to no other. So now we will see with the examples. A proviso may serve four different purposes. Why the proviso would be there? So it is clearly said here. It serves the four different purposes. Number one, qualifying or accepting certain provision from the main enactment. Okay, the what the main section say, if the exception would be there or the qualifying would be there, it connected to the main enactment. Number two, it may entirely change the very concept of the intendment of enactment by insisting on certain mandatory condition to be fulfilled in order to make the enactment workable. So there is also say mandatory condition should be there, then only that act would be applicable. I mean the other enactment in the section, what the says would be applicable if the mandatory condition is fulfilled over there. So mandatory condition is a person can marry provided he should be more than 18 years in case of a girl, more than 20 years in case of a boy. Provided means if you qualify this 18 years and 21 years, then only you can go marry. That is the first what the section says, the first enactment body. You fulfill this condition, then your marriage will be valid marriage. So that the provided proviso comes in the form of provided also. It may be so embedded in the act, that is the third one. It may be so embedded in the act itself as to become an integral part of enactment and thus acquire the tenor and color of the substantive enactment itself. So it is a part of the section. Of course, by this provision only, the section color will be changed. The color means whether it is a valid marriage or invalid marriage, provided the condition is provision is there. If you fulfill 18 years in case of a girl and 21 years in case of a boy. So if these two conditions will be fulfilled, then the marriage would be valid. The first line would be valid. So that's the point. The fourth one, it may be used merely to act as an option, addenda, or to the enactment to the sole object of explaining the real intent of the statutory provision. So it also shows what is the intention of the statutory enactment or section says it is decided by the proviso and what is their intention. So now again we will come to the IPC section 300 where the D, that is the exception 1 and proviso, there are proviso 1 to 3 are there. Now we'll see what the IPC will say. Yes, IPC, I put it on the range. So they said 300. So I will drag to the 300 directly to see what is the 300 says. Yes, we are coming near to the, yeah, we came to 307. Then we slowly will scroll down to see, yeah, and now 299, 300. Yes, we reached to the 300. I'm sure that you could see on the screen 300 is, what is 300? It is clearly put it over there. Sir, matter, sir. Why do you ask us such a simple questions to us? Because it's already there on the screen. Again, you are asking me what is 300? Yes, 300 is a matter. So in 300, what actually they said in 300 in the main, what they put 300 and there the proviso D. I mean, not we should not say proviso, class D. So now we'll see what the class D says in the IPC. So secondly, thirdly, A is given in the illustration, B is given in the illustration, C is given C, D. So what the D says here? Can anybody will read what is the D says? Yes.
A without any excuses for fires a loaded cannon into a crowd of persons and
And
kills
yes,
one of them.
yes, that is
A is
A.
guilty of murder,
Yes, yes. Proceed.
although he may not have had a premeditated
Design.
design to kill
Okay. Hmm.
any particular individual.
So that is the class D. And with the class D, if you see the exceptions, number one, when culpable homicide is not murder, and there again they have given the above exception is subject to the following provisos. Did you see? In exception 1, below they find the above exception is subject to the following proviso. Is it clear? So here they given, here see I am put the cursor here. Following provisos. What is the provisos which qualify to the when culpable homicide not able to murder, that is exception 1. Proviso first says that the provocation is not sought or voluntarily provoked by the offender as an excuse for killing or doing a harm to any person. That means if provocation is there and sought and are voluntarily provoked by the offender voluntarily provoked, and then it is not an excuse for killing. It is not an excuse, that is the provision. And secondly, that the provocation is not given by anything done in obedience to the law by a public servant in the lawful exercise of the power of such public servant. So what is the exception provisions are given under the provisos? First one, second one, third one. That the provocation is not given by anything done in the lawful exercise of the right of private defense. If these provisos will be followed over there, then the exception 1 will come, which is not amount to murder. So if a provocation is there and if he does it, then it is a culpable homicide. If there is no provocation, then if he does it, then the culpable is not a culpable homicide. It is a murder. So proviso says the certain exception point. If it is done, then it is to be like that. If it is not done, it is like that. So that is the proviso activity. It qualifies to the main section to see if you fulfill it, that would be done. If you not fulfill it, this could not be done. So the proviso says in that way. So let we come back to the our own. So that is the 300D explanation 1. There are 3 provisions also given under the exception 1 and just I have shown you. So that is the same thing I wrote it here. That the provocation is sought or voluntarily provoked by the offender as an excuse for killing or doing to harm. Just now I read the same thing which I put it over there. So proviso also very important factor to see and how we can say whether the act is done, whether act is not done, whether he is liable, whether he is not liable. So proviso will decide it to do. Like the example which I said, one can marry provided the boy is above the 21 years and the girl is above the 18 years. So here the provided is a proviso. Unless you fulfill that condition, you cannot marry. So that is a type of the provision would be there. In most sections, provisos are very important factor because unless you fulfill that one, and you cannot go to the section. So limitation for the provisos are, let me see. A proviso is constructed in relation to the section to which it is appended. So which section the proviso is there, you have to connect to only that section only. With this proviso, we should not connect to another proviso, another section. So the ambition of the scope of enacting section cannot be widened or curtailed by the proviso. But only section main thing is not widened and curtailed. Whether section is a valid or not, that proviso decides. If you fill that condition, yes, it is a valid. If you don't fill that condition, it is not valid. So that will say about the that proviso says regarding. That's why proviso also are an important factor in interpreting the statutes are concerned. We'll see the provisos, what the proviso says, whether the proviso they are followed or not. So that gives a sense of it. So that is all about the provisos which I have shown in the examples in the different statutes. Now let us come to the explanation. The object of an explanation to a statutory provision. So why this explanation? Yes, explanation like an illustration, but it is a more elaborate way. Like just now I have shown you in explanation in the 299, again I will come back and show you the same thing. So the explanation, the meaning and indictment of the act itself, where there is any obscurity or vagueness in the main enactment, to clarify the same so as to make it consistent with the dominant object which it seems to subserve to provide an additional support to the dominant object of the act in order to make it meaningful and purposeful. So an explanation can't in any way interfere or with or change the enactment or any part thereof, but for some gap is left which is relevant for the purpose of the explanation. So in order to suppress the mischief and advance the object of the act, it can be helpful or assist that court in interpreting the true purport or indentment of the enactment. And it cannot, however, take away the statutory right with which any person under a statute has been clothed or set at naught the working of an act. And here, clothed or set a knot, not N-A-G-H-T, not that not, K-N-O-T, not here. Act by becoming an hindrance in the interpretation of the same. So what I want to say, if the section wordings are vague or ambiguous, not giving the clear understanding, clear meaning as per the context is concerned, at that instance, we rely on the explanation. What the explanation says about. So let us see the example here. Again, I can say the Indian Penal Code is given where the general explanations are given more there. Because these explanations like a definition rather we can say. So let we see that MK Salpekar versus Sunil Kumar Shamsundar Chowdhury in that Supreme Court observed that where a provision is related to two kinds of accommodation, that is the residential and non-residential, and the explanation attached to it refers to only a residential accommodation, so it cannot control non-residential accommodation and therefore can't be looked into the matter connected with the later. So when the clearly explanation is given, it is for the residential, then we should not think about the non-residential. That is the actually meaning of explanation. So now let's see with the clear cut by seeing the section 6 from 52A, the Indian Penal Code again. What are the general explanations given over there? And the definition of the code to be understood by subject to exceptions. Again, then we'll say section 7 expressions and section 8. One after another, we will see the explanation in the IPC. So I'm on the IPC and we'll go through the section 8, section 9 regarding the explanations. Yes, we are coming and scrolling down. Yes, we are reached to that. Yeah, here you will find. See the general explanation, chapter 2. Number 6, definition in the code to be understood subject to exceptions. So they have given the illustrations there, how we could understand it, and they have given the general explanations, expressions explained. For every expression which is explained in any part of this code is used every part of this code in conformity with the explanation. So here the explanation which is given over here is what is gender, section 8. So the gender means the pronoun he and its derivative are used for any person whether male or female. So generative derivative used for any person means from he only his comes, from she only her comes, or he only himself, or she only herself. So all the derivatives are used for any person, whether male or a female. It is explanation given in the section 8 gender. When you say number 9, unless the contrary appears from the context, what's importing the singular number include the plural number. The same explanation you will find in the General Clause Act of 1897 TGCA also. Suppose if the number definition is not given here there, or explanation is not given in the IPC, then we will tap the definition of number from the TGCA. That's why we say TGCA is law of all laws. Law of all laws is the General Clause Act of 1897. So here number includes singular as well as the plural. That explanation is given. So explanation also gives like a definitions to clear cut uh, the intention of the parliamentarian. Like the example person, the word person includes any company either registered or unregistered, association like partnership also, and LLP also, and the body of persons whether incorporated or not. So here, person includes an individual also, a boy also, a girl also, and a foetus also. For more explanation, if you don't find it, then we talk from the TGCA. So every statute it gives illustration, definition, and explanation. So that's what I want to say in this class. Then come back to our original class is concerned. Yes. So explanation will add, it will not deviate. It adds something to the main section. And what the section says regarding a gender or a person or a number is concerned, how it can be made, it is given in the explanation. So explanation is also very important factor when you are constrained. Then we'll see the schedule, then we'll stop it. In the schedules, in the sense, it is the forms are part of the statute and can be interpreted independently as well as with the aids of the interpretation of statutory provisions. So they are added towards the end, and their use is made to avoid the encumbering the section in the statute with a matter of excessive details. The division of statutes into sections and schedules is a mere matter of convenience, and schedule therefore may contain substantial enactment, and always schedules comes at the last of the statutes. So schedule may contain the transitory provisions also to enable an act to remain in existence till the main provisions of the act begin to operate. So schedules are given. The reason is we cannot accommodate everything in the section. That way, a separate schedules will be given in the length and clear-cut manner in each statute at the end of the statutes. Schedule 1, 2, 3. Like a constitution, how many schedules are there in constitution? Anyone? Srikanth, you joined just now. I admitted you. How many schedules are there in the constitution? Anyone? Yes? I could hear you. Please tell me, how many schedules are there in Constitution? Any answer from the participants? Sir, we have to count it, sir. Hmm. Okay, I will give the answer. There are total 12. Yes, very good, very good. There are total 12 schedules are there. And I already put it over there, it seems or not. No. So there are total 12 schedules are there. And can you tell me what is the seventh schedule? Anyone? Can you tell me what is the seventh schedule? I'm hearing you. Seventh schedule deals about the union list, state list, and concurrent list.
Concurrent list.
Yes, yes. So now I got because I got the sound now from you. Yeah, these are the regarding schedule. Ninth schedule of the government. It will say about schedule may contain rights and provisions remain in existence in the main provision of the Act begins to operate, such as the ninth schedule of Government of India Act also says about the schedules. Even 1935 also we are having the schedules. So here one of the case law that is Affali Pharmaceutical Limited versus State of Maharashtra, the Supreme Court held that in case of a clash between the schedule and the main body of an act, the main body prevails and the scheduled has to be rejected. Naturally, if there is a conflict between the central government and the state government, then the state government will the central government will eclipse the state government laws, and the state central government laws will be applicable over there. When you come to the matter of the Jagdish Prasad versus State of Rajasthan, this is another case. Supreme Court ruled that purpose of the schedule is to advance the object of the main provisions, and a deletion of schedule cannot wipe out the provisions of an act or effect and spirit. So schedule gives the clear cut which are covered, which are not covered over there. So that is the purpose of the schedule. So schedules may be in some act you will find the schedules, in some act you don't find the schedules, isn't it? So it depends upon the act where the schedule is there or schedule is not there. So if you see the eighth schedule of the Constitution, which recognize the how many earlier it is the 14 languages there, now there are 22 languages are recognized under the schedule 8 of the Constitution. And the 12th schedule specifically says about the powers and authorities and responsibility of the municipalities. It has the 18 matters. There is the 11th schedule. Of course, 12th schedule I put about the 1935 Act. The 11th schedule deals about this one. So these are the schedules which are very important in statute. So if something is not given in the section, then they say please refer the schedule 7 or schedule 6 or schedule 1. There you will get the more explanations. For instance, in the Workman Compensation Act, no, Fatal Accident Act also there are schedules are there. And the Workmen Compensation Act also, I'm sure there are schedules are there, and which gives regarding the injury is concerned, regarding the compensation is concerned, the amount is concerned, that will be given in the schedules mostly. So that is about the schedule class today. Then now the time is 12:06. Instead of going the exceptional class, shall we do the exceptional class because it is the only. Yes, only few are there. Then I will deal the exception class also. I will wind up. So exception class and saving class. So every section having exceptions, and every statute there may be saving clauses. So exceptions are generally added to an enactment with the purpose of exempting something which would otherwise fall within the ambit of the main provisions. So exceptions are given, otherwise they will come in the ambit of the main sections are there. For instance, there are 10 exceptions attached to the section 499 IPC, which defines the defamation. If you happen to see the section 499, the defamation, there are total 10 exceptions are given over there. And there are 5 exceptions attached to the 300 of Indian Penal Code, which defines murder. Just now I have shown you exceptions. The 5 exceptions are the cases which are not murder but culpable homicide, not amounting to murder. An exception affirms the things not to exempted are covered under the main provision. It is an exceptions and hence it not be covered over there. And these exceptions, if the repugnancy would be there and operation of the class would be relied over there. So what I want to say here is exceptions also will be counted when you are reading the main sections. So let me see the Director of Secondary Education versus Pushpendra Kumar, what the Supreme Court held that a provision in the nature of an exception can't be so interpreted so as to subvert the main enactment and thereby nullify the right conferred by the main enactment. So naturally, any exception should not nullify the main enactment. If such an exception would be there, then we delete the exceptions. We don't consider the exception. So generally, if exception which is contrary to the main enactment, such exceptions will not be taken into consideration. Exceptions are enacted for the purpose of exempting something which otherwise fall under the ambit of the main provisions. So, if the exceptions are not there, then it may fall under the ambit of the main provisions. Can you see the section 299, the exceptions of the 5 exceptions which is given under the defamation? Let me see the 499, what are the exceptions are there? Yes, I will drag to the 499. 499, yes, 488, 490, yes, we came here. See, 499, you could see here, chapter 21 of defamation, there are 499 says about the defamation. See, in the exceptions, they put it, except in the cases here and after, accepted, so defame that a person, they are given the 4 explanations, though are nothing but 5 exceptions, which is given over there. And they also given the illustration also. There are 3 illustrations are given, and and they have given the first exception. See, imputation of truth which public good request to be made are published. That is an exception. Second exception, third exceptions. So fourth exceptions we have given, and fifth exception also given. So each exception again you will find the explanation, and you will find the illustration for more depth, so that you will not be deviated from the exception. That's I want to say, and that is about the exception regarding the any act is concerned. Then we will come to the last point is saving clause point. That is, what is the saving clause and how the saving clause would come. A saving clause, it exempt not to touch the other things. So a saving clause is appended in case of repeal and enactment of statutes. In the case of Director of Secondary Education of Pushpendra Kumar, it was held that the nature of expression cannot be interpreted as to subserve the main enactment or nullify the right enacted to the main enactment. So saving clause are generally appended in the cases of repeal enactment of statute. Section 29 of the Hindu Marriage Act, if you see it, of course I did not put it there on the screen, and if you see the section 29 of the Hindu Marriage Act, there is a clearly written four saving clauses are there. Four, section 29, subsection 1, subsection 2, subsection 3, subsection 4. So they have given the saving clauses. That means these things will not applicable to the other provisions. So here you will see a marriage solemnized between the Hindu before the commencement of this act. Suppose if any marriage is commencement of this act is concerned, which is otherwise valid, shall not be doomed to be invalid or ever to have been invalid by reason only of the fact that the party there to belong to the same gotra or pravara or belong to the different religion, caste or subdivision of the same estate caste. So if a marriage is held before the Hindu Marriage Act, can such marriage is not a valid marriage? Yes, it is a valid marriage. Who said exception, the saving clause, section 29, subsection 1, subsection 2, subsection 3, subsection 4 says. So they also say section 4, nothing contained in this act shall be deemed to affect the provisions contained in the Special Marriage Act. So if any act, see a saving clause clearly mentioned under the subsection 4, nothing contained in this act, mean Hindu marriage, what is that? What act we said is Hindu Marriage Act of 1955. Yes, the Hindu Marriage of 1955 section subsection 4 says, nothing contained in this act shall be deemed to affect the provision contained in the Special Marriage Act. So whatever the provision contained in the Special Marriage Act, this will not affect with respect to marriage between the Hindus solemnized on that act, whether before or after the commencement of this act. So here they have clearly given the that clause, saving clause is there. So Hindu Marriage Act provisions are nowhere affected to the Special Marriage Act. It is entirely different. So it is clearly mentioned in the saving clauses. In income tax acts also there is a saving clause also there. So unless a contrary intention appears, and present income tax act is all applicable to all the taxes which is envisaged in the act. So that is saving clause is put it in every statute to save certain people or certain persons, and whether liable or not liable, they have given in the saving clause. And we see the Shah Bhojraj Kaureji Iron Mills versus Subhash Chandra Yogaraj Sinha, it is said the Supreme Court did not allow the use of saving clause which was enacted like a proviso to determine whether section is act was retrospective in operation or not. So naturally, whether any act is retrospective or not, it should be clearly mentioned in the act itself. Otherwise, we cannot make any act which is prospective to be a retrospective. So that is decided in that case law. Then the last case law is agriculture and processed food products versus Union of India. There, the Supreme Court, while interpreting the saving clause in the Export Control Order 1988, held that clause only saved the rights which were in existence before the order was issued, and it did not confer any new right which were not in existence at the time. So, saving clause clearly mentioned it. whatever the order should be there before the existence of this new act has come, that only saved were there, but new rights which came after this act will not be considered. If any right comes, it should be in the export control order of 1988 only should be followed. So that is the meaning. So saving clause also save whatever the earlier rights are there. Okay, let it be put it in existence, but the new rights could not be made because of the saving clause. They clearly made uh, with it. That is, it did not confer any new right which were not in existence at the time. So if any right which is not in existence at the time, that right will not be a right at all. So existence rights only continued over there. That is clearly given in the same class. So that is the end of the today's class. Now we encroached on 1 minute on your leisure time, and now we will see how many participants are there. Yes, participants are there still, and then we will see the chart. Yes, chart also fine. Yeah, if anybody wants to ask any question, then you can ask so that I could say
Sir,
goodbye.
this presumption is there, sir.
Yes,
Sir, presumption is the presumption.
presumption. Now the question comes, the presumptions are concerned. We read separately presumptions in one
Acha,
of the
acha.
class. See, presumptions
It is
also
there in
will take.
number 4.
See, if a man will not be had more than 7 years, then presumption is that he is dead, as per the
Ah,
evidence act.
it is there in unit number 4.
Yeah. Which section says in the evidence act?
Evidence है तो अपना
Hmm?
देखा नहीं साहब.
But even I myself also forgotten which section say in the evidence act.
We have
So
not gone through, sir.
yeah, presumption also we can say. See, another presumption I will tell you that if a man and a woman living together under one roof for years together, and presumption is that they are married, is it not? And the Hindu Marriage Act, it is clearly given presumption. So presumptions are there where we will constitute. Suppose if such a presumption not there, suppose they are living together as a man and a woman under one roof, and like better we will put the word not man and woman. They are living together in one roof as a wife and husband forever, and they are procreate the children, and children's also having the children's, but they did not celebrate or conducted the religious rite like Saptapadi or fire or taking the round or exchange the garlands. Do you think that marriage is not a valid marriage? So answer is presumption is that it is a valid marriage that is taken into consideration. Otherwise, children, those who are born called illegitimate children. And there is no dispute over there. But presumption is that they are married. Hence, children born to them are legitimate children entitled for the maintenance, entitled for inheritance, and whatever the right is given under the Hindu Marriage Act or the Muslim personal law gives, they will get it. But the Muslim personal law, there it comes over there again. There is litigation. Then acknowledgement is necessary over there. That is the point to prove the paternity. So that we will take it out. So I encroached already 9 minutes on somebody's your uh, refreshment time. So let me say goodbye to you. So have a good day. And this is the end of the internal aids. And tomorrow class we'll see the what are the external aids. So let me take leave.
Thank
Then I stop my sharing and bye to everybody and have a good day. Thank you very much for patiently you are listening.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you to you, and the end of the meeting.
So,
Yes.